Hey there, everybody. It's Mike DeLisio with another Dice Tower Daily Unboxing. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a big box called Unsettled from Orange Nebula Games. This is what they're calling the base framework. So this is a space survival cooperative game. And from what I understand, the way it's going to work is that you have different planets that you are potentially on that are going to be their own little modules that play a little bit differently. But the core idea is that throughout the game, you are trying to survive on whatever planet that you are on. And each planet is going to have its own kind of unique challenges for you to overcome. All right, so here it says the format concept. Unsettled has a core structure that'll be the same each time you play, and a series of planet packs that each offer unique twists and variations on those core systems. Essentially, each planet is a different version of the game. There's no overarching campaign. Each play is an isolated standalone experience, and each planet may be played repeatedly. All right, so that I think kind of explains what's going on there. They've got a conceptual approach that they talk about, how to approach the rule book, the rule book layout. So this has got a whole lot going on. We're just going to kind of go through it in a brief manner. There's a whole, like I said, this is quite a bit to digest. So we're just going to kind of flip through, get a sense for the components, maybe get a basic idea for what the game might be like. All right, so here we've got our game setup. Looks like we've got kind of a central area that's going to be where the exploration is going to go, where the different cards are going to come out that represent the environments of whatever particular planet you're on. You've got the different kind of trays that are going to be for resources and for tracking particular things, and then these would be the player boards around the outside here, the explorer dashboards as they call them. All right, you might have some planet specific setup as well that you would have to account for. All right, so turn overview. On your turn, you're going to set your 3 focus to take actions. Focus are represented on these cubes that are essentially dice, but you don't roll them. You set them to a particular value. So 4 things to do on your turn. In any order, you may set your focus. That is mandatory. Place the focus cubes onto action spaces to activate that space's effect. You can move your explorer. That is optional between nodes, and you have to potentially resolve some movement effects between the nodes, which are represented on these cards. You can program Luna to move and or scan. That's optional. Luna is your kind of robot assistant helper that can help you gather resources and explore the planet. And you could also take some free actions, which are optional. All right. Since this is a cooperative game, you can also act on other explorers' turns, and oftentimes you're going to need to do that to be successful according to the rule book. So you've got some victory conditions here. The explorers survive. If you have completed your survival task and all explorers and Luna are on the scarab tile, which is kind of your starting tile, you win or defeat. If at any time all explorers' endurance is reduced to 0, you lose. You do not survive. You can also have a hollow victory if you completed your survival task and made it back to the ship, but without some members of your crew. Well, that's nice. Call it a victory of sorts if you want. We understand. Without your crewmates, though, you're as good as dead. So use your next few days well. They will be your last. All right, so game space overview here. The different boards: time and trust board, movement board, resource board, breakthrough board, dashboards and mindset overview. Basic turn overview, so it kind of goes through those 4 things we talked about before in more detail, and then you have to regroup your focus to end your turn. The free actions that we talked about here, there are a number of those. Talks more about your focus cubes and how they work, and the different actions that you're going to be placing those cubes on and how those work. It looks a bit at your dashboard, your player board, the personal action spaces that you have that can sometimes be adjusted. The different traits and insight, which is essentially I guess you would say a resource, or at least something you're tracking. Your comprehension, your breakthroughs, which is kind of like new tech, new abilities that you would get, and you've got a breakthrough board for that. Different structures that you might be building and using. Distress, which is going to be causing you to lose access to some of your actions. The different nodes between your cards. Talks more about movement, the explorer movement, map exploration, and then using Luna to help you. The moment board and opportunities, discoveries, anomalies, properties. So as you can see, there's a fair amount going on here. All right. Survival tasks, time and trust. And survival tasks are really what you're going to need to do to be successful. All right. The resource board, and then some final details here. All right. This is what's called the advanced directives. This is just an index, and they say specifically, don't read this. Don't bother reading this before you play. Only use this as a reference if you need to. All right. And then they've got some appendices in the back with a sample turn, an iconography guide, things along those lines. All right. So a pretty large comprehensive rule book. We've also got some player aid cards here, it looks like, with your main actions and your free actions, and also an iconography cheat sheet there, one for each player. And then in the rest of the box here, you've got a series of kind of trays, game trays. And also here on the side, it also gives you an idea for a rapid teardown. It's engineered for quick setup and rapid teardown, shows you how to put the game away, and then it gives you also an illustrated guide for how to put everything back in the box, all right? Now, there's likely to be things here that are not punched yet. So here we've got one of our trays, all right? And I'm going to try to pop this out. Take the board off, and you've got a spot there to put trays that I'm assuming there are going to be cardboard there that you're going to punch out and place where you need them when you need them, all right? But there's one of the trays. Here we also have the resource tray where you're going to be putting your different resources there. Looks like your breakthrough board here. Planet-specific tokens, distress, anomalies, Luna's information there. Pop that underneath. And then where I think you're going to be putting, I think maybe breakthrough tiles, things along those lines. Opportunity cards here. See all of these molded plastic trays. Now, the base game here comes with 2 planets for you to explore, and there are additional planets that you can get that I'll do in a later unboxing that will kind of change things up there. So let's put those planets off to the side here. Winora, which they say is the first one you should play, it has the lightest challenge. And then Gracchus here, which is a level 2 challenge, and it's got its own specific information. Let's also look at the player dashboards here. Okay, so here you can see dual layered player boards for each of the different characters. Then we have some of our tiles that we will be punching out. Okay, you can get a sense for the quality of the cardboard. It is nice, thick cardboard. Certainly nothing there that you need to worry about for repeated plays. This seems to be quite good quality. All right, we've got our different scarab boards. Now, they say that if you want to play it on a normal mode, you turn it to the side where the scarab does not have a special ability. If you want to make the game a bit easier, you could turn it to the side where you've got a potential ability on those, okay? So we can see 3 different scarabs there that are potentially available to us. All right. Let's look at some of our focus cubes. Big, chunky, etched cubes. Essentially dice, but again, they're not rolled. They're set to particular values that are going to change depending upon the action spot that you go to. Sometimes it'll raise your focus, sometimes it'll lower your focus. We've got these 2 large translucent acrylic discs that can represent different, I believe, events, things along those lines, but you can see these are really big, thick, chunky acrylic discs there. Pop those back. We've got some little mini acrylic discs there. I'll keep those in the baggie. There's nothing really specific to see there. We've got a couple of little Let me go ahead and take these out because at least they are etched. So kind of show you those to represent your time marker and your trust. This is for time and this is for trust. Two elements that are tracked on that board that I showed you earlier. Put those back. We've got some other look to be modified D8s here that are very sparkly and cool. Ooh, I like those a lot. We've got some other mini cubes here that represent different scientific disciplines, if I remember correctly from glancing over the rule book. Again, these are not rolled. You place them onto a specific side and you're trying to gain breakthroughs in that particular scientific discipline, whichever one it may be. I believe there are 4 represented here, I believe. Perhaps not. It might be less. All right, and then here's Luna, your trusty compatriot Luna there. All right. Going to need Luna's help to be successful. We've got some acrylic pieces here, different cubes, clear, some little acrylic crystals here I'll show off. You can see that. Very nice. Get these back into somewhat of an order. Then I'll show you the Explorer minis, which I believe are the same sculpt, just in different colors. But I will confirm that here in a moment. Yes, that does appear to be the case. All right, so here's our minis. A couple of different colors. There we go. Perhaps you'd want to paint these. I will not be painting mine. I'm perfectly happy with just the player colors being represented there. That works for me. All right, so we've got that. Now we'll take a quick look at the planet box. Okay, so here's Winora. It's going to have some specific things that are, again, specific to it. Some setup for this particular planet, some primers, an introduction, of course, and some advice. All right. But then this is going to have its own tokens that are specific to this planet. It's going to have its own game tray here. That's going to house planet-specific components. In this case, some cards. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to open these cards because I don't want to spoil anything. Exploration is a huge part of this game. I don't want to spoil it for you, and honestly, I don't want to spoil it for me because I plan on playing through this very soon. But you can, again, just get an idea of what these planet boxes are about. All right, they have planet-specific information, tokens, things along those lines. We'll take a quick look at Gracchus as well. The petrified waste, so this is more of a sand planet, it looks like. Quick setup here, a planet primer there, reference and FAQ. Specific tokens here. Looks like we've got some storms we're going to need to deal with on this planet. And like Winora, some cards that are specific to it that I, again, am not going to open because I don't want to spoil for anybody, myself included. All right, so hopefully this gives you an idea of what the game is about, at least as much as I've got, which is that it's a space-themed survival cooperative game that is Unsettled. Thank you for watching another Dice Tower Daily Unboxing.